Hello and welcome. Today I want to take you through parts of the process that I use to create metahuman stills for Instagram posts. We begin today inside Metahuman Creator, and here is my character. It is a custom face mesh, a scanned human that has been turned into a metahuman. That bit is not important. You can use a stock metahuman if you want. I just wanted a little bit of originality for this particular character. Then if we take a look at the body, just dressed him normal. Let's go back to the face. What I do want to quickly say is that I have adjusted the skin, chosen a skin tone. I've also done a texture. I'll speak more about that later on in the video. The eyes won't be this color. I will explain the reason for that too. Other than that, that is absolutely it. I'm just going to save my metahuman and I'm going to import that via Bridge and into Unreal Engine. I assume at this point you know how to do that. This is about lighting and color more than importing a metahuman from start to finish. Inside Unreal Engine 5.1, don't worry, there's nothing I'm using inside Unreal Engine 5.1 that you cannot use in Unreal Engine 5. I have ray tracing turned on in the project because I use an NVIDIA card, and that is it. Right, so what I've done is set up a camera. Let me just save this current level so I don't lose it. Okay, let me open my camera again. Right, so here we are. What I'm stumbling a bit because what I'm trying to teach today is not science, it is art. So let me turn off all the lighting for now. So let's get rid of that and the post process. This ambient light's not doing much. The intensity is 0.25, you see that? And it is grey, and I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this on YouTube, but there is kind of, if I bump that up, it does actually do something. I can't tell you what that is. It's just, it gives a gentle outline. Let's create a normal point light. That was a spotlight, wasn't it? Create lights. Point light. Let me just come out of cinematic mode a moment and bring that across. Over, and let's just light up the character. That's all I'm trying to do. Right, as you can see, there's two cameras in front of the character. I don't need to tell you what they do. They're just normal cameras. But what I will tell you is, if you look at the frame, it is set up for Instagram because that is the end goal of this particular shot. A point light, and let me just hide those cameras. There we go. Okay, so if I zoom out with this, let me just light the character normally. As you can see, it doesn't look that great. We could change the light color, make it a little bit warmer. But again, it doesn't look that great. So what I want to first do is start with the metahuman itself. So we will just set that to white light. I wouldn't normally set something to perfectly white though, so let me just slightly below perfect white. There we go. Right, so let's click on the metahuman, open it up. And there's nothing special about this metahuman. Ignore the arms, they're not in the shot, and I was going a different way with this. Now, if we look at the skin, compared to Metahuman Creator, I have lightened the skin. And the reason for this is not only so I can blend colors, but darker skin tones obviously absorb light, and lighter skin tones reflect light. So basically I need less light if I lighten the skin gently. And that's the only reason for it. And obviously, when I'm going to apply warm lights to this character, because the character does have darker tone skin. I just want you to understand that that is why the skin is paler. And the way I did that is I opened up the head material and I came down, because when first thing I do is switch off animated albedo and normals, because this character is not going to be animated, it's a still shot. And then I come down to base color, come to my main face texture. I have MIP gen setting set to no MIP map, so it's the highest quality. Again, this is a still image. I'm not worried about resources. And then I come down to adjustments and I've turned the saturation down to about halfway, but I've turned vibrance up slightly. Okay. And then it gives us this kind of dull, I would argue it's more grey than the rich tone of the skin colour. It's just flat, is what I'm getting at. Right. So with that in mind, the next thing I did, again, I don't think it's ideal for this, but this character was going to be a cyborg. So I instantly changed the eyes to reflect that. But afterwards I didn't make it into a cyborg, but I kind of kept the blue eyes anyway. But again, you would just come down to your eye texture, your eye materials, and you would just adjust all these parameters until you get what you like. Like we could do brightness for the Scalara, but I'm going to leave his eyes this color for the blue color, which I will get to shortly. And so this is what we left it with. It's kind of a grey, flat, apart from the eyes, which are nice and blue. The hair, you will notice I've adjusted the hair in Metahuman Creator to have like a salt and pepper sort of thing, you know, like these white hairs in there. So it started off black hair. I deliberately chose a texture in Metahuman Creator when setting up the skin. I did this for the blemishes, but if we look at the wrinkles, because when we turn up the contrast, it's going to make it look like the character has a lot of detail. Whereas if you choose a smooth, normal, you're going to get flat results. And I don't like that. I like a contrasty image. The next thing we have is the lights from the Metahuman lighting project that's available on the Epic Marketplace. I use it in almost every project like this because it's just easy. The lights are already there for me. I can move them around, and it's just essentially this act blueprint with a background light, fill light, key light, and rim light. Sometimes I won't use one or more of these, and we'll get to that. Then there is an air glow, which I don't think is doing much in this. We can do that, I suppose. Let me just move the air glow that's behind him. Perhaps there. I don't think I really used it in this. And let's just switch on the lights first. Okay, that's what we have. Let me just make sure the air glow is not affecting that. And as you can see, it still looks a little strange, but that's because I added this point light, if we remember. So let's get rid of that now. And this is what we have. Now, it kind of looks pink, but that's because I adjusted this lighting with a post-process volume on, which we will get to. So let me switch it on. And there we go. We're closer to the finished product now. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new post-process. So let's turn this off. I will leave the lights for a moment. Let's go to Visual Effects, Post-Process Volume, F2, Tut, find Unbound, because I want it to affect the whole scene, and Exposure. I go to Metering Mode. I will set to Manual. I will turn on exposure compensation, but I rarely use it here. Apply physical camera exposure, and then I check that. And that all that means is that I control that within the camera here, because I have the camera set to manual, and then I use exposure compensation if I need it. In this case, I needed it quite a lot. Okay, so let's go back to the post process. Then the next thing I would do is I would type in contrast and find those. In fact, sorry, forgive me, saturation first, saturation, and I would come to global saturation and I will set it to 0. So we're in black and white. Then from this, I would type contrast, and I would start altering these contrast settings, but there is a but to this. The way I work with contrast at the moment is I would adjust the lighting first. So I would start working on the shadows. If we take a look here, there is a shadow where his nose is, etc., and shadows here. And how I achieve that is in this black and white mode, and then I simply adjust the position of my lighting. See, this would be a natural instinct to light the face up so you could see everything. Obviously, this looks moodier than this. I understand for some people that it's what you want. You want to see everything in your creation, but I think it's more important to add like a mood, a feeling is the best way I can describe it. So in this instance, I moved the rotation, and then I did alter the position on X, Y, and Z. So like if we move Z up and down, or Z, let me remember where that was, -88. Okay, so you can, if it's below the character look, oh, I really like that. Oh, wow, I like that. Okay, well, let me not get excited over that. I did like that, though. So let me just double check that again. Let me go down. I think I found my next iteration of this image. Oh, I do like that. See, it kind of adds a mood. And if I put my original post process on, let me just turn off that. Oh, I do like that. Look at that. Oh. Amazing. Right, anyway, let me get back to it. Okay, so what I'm doing is creating like gentle shadows. I've got another Metahuman still that I want to do, and I've been really struggling with it. And I think I just found the lighting that I want for that Metahuman. Next, I would adjust the contrast. So let's go to contrast. I would start maybe with global contrast, and if we turn up the global contrast, okay, just, I don't want to do anything too extreme, but enough. And you see, it adds like a moody quality to it. And then I would come down to like shadows and adjust the contrast of shadows, etc. And in this instance, I'm going to leave it. Midtones is always really important. And if you look, we can actually like there's like a bleaching effect when you turn down the contrast, or the other way, it kind of does the same but darker. So it's something to be aware of. It depends what it is you're going for. Highlights, obviously they're the brighter areas, and my eyes cannot see that. Hopefully you can, and it's coming through YouTube. I'm now happy with the contrast, and I would move on to my saturation. And for saturation, again, this is not a science, it's an art. So let's turn it up to 1. And then I would adjust my various saturation levels. Let me quickly do that. Here we have red, green, blue, and Y for luminance. And I would, if we turn down luminance, for example, it goes black and white again. Turn it up too much, it looks oversaturated. So I would play around with that. But for example, I can see by looking at this image, in the light in my room, that is very important that you perhaps step away and go into a different lighting scenario, usually outside, because the lighting in your room, the color of your walls, everything affects how your eyes adapt. I won't claim to understand color science. I just know it from observing it, that if I go outside, what I think is white light inside suddenly becomes very warm or opposite blue. It's something to be aware of. Take regular breaks, and sometimes it's better to leave it for a day, come back, and you may notice you've got too much red or something in there. And with that ramble over, let's add a little bit of red into the global saturation. And I'm going to turn down green because I want it to be a little bit more yellow. You see, if I turn down green, turn up red, turn down green, we get this effect. And so I do want to turn down green, like so. And then I want to bump up the blues for the background, and more importantly, our eyes. I want you to keep an eye on the eyes, and they just gently start to pop. We can perhaps in the mid-tones, maybe a little bit more blue. Highlights, maybe. No, not touch highlights. What about in the shadows? There we go. Well, you get a general idea. You would mess with the color grading settings and it will give you what you desire. What I didn't cover, and what I will do is I will set this up the best I can, but then I will go back to my lights and I will adjust these colors here. So for example, here we could perhaps go over to a more purple, but you see the effect it has on it. At the moment, I've got kind of a pink, and if I go to the yellow, again, depending on what it is that I'm looking at, I was looking for something a little bit soft and moody, but normally for a skin tone like this character has, I would be down here more in the yellows, like a pinky yellow. You see that? And that'd make me feel more comfortable. But for this, I wanted a pinker tone coming from behind, because this light is coming from behind. Look, see that? That's important as well for shadows. Perhaps I should do something a little bit more in depth on how I approach lighting. But again, it's not science, it's art. I just do it. And if it looks okay, that's what I'll do. But yeah, so it's like a kind of a pink light. I never use white lights or black colors. I mean, like a perfect white or perfect black, because it messes up rendering. I don't understand the science behind it. I just know what I see, and it just doesn't work very well. Right, so key light. If I turn off the key light, if we look there, I think it's this rim light here. Yeah, look, the rim light is kind of shining a blue. If we turn it up, see that? Oh, I like that as well. I do like that. Again, for the other Metahuman, that would look fantastic. So yeah, so it just adds a little bit of blue, just a little bit. And you see, that's a rim light. That is not supposed to be doing that, but I've altered the position of the rim light, so its location is all 0, its rotation is 0, and the rim light's supposed to be above the character somewhere, but I just moved it down, reset it, and it's just shining on the face. Turn it off again. Look, there is nothing there. You can see nothing of the face, just an outline, but just that gentle amount of light. I hope this is coming through on YouTube. It just helps you to see the eye, the shape of the nose, the mustache, the lips. Okay, and the key light obviously is the bright light, and Again, that is kind of it's almost white, but it's cooler. It's in the blue. Just slightly into the blue. Whereas this side's pink and warm and kind of rich tone to it. This one is cold and blue. And it kind of creates it's a strange thing, but when I'm doing it, I'm always got like a picture of the yin and yang symbol inside my mind. I don't know whether that's helpful or not, but it's like there's kind of a separation, but then I will blur between the yin and the yang. That's just how I see it inside my mind. And that is basically it. So if you think I've missed something, then just tell me in the comments section and I will try my best to answer the questions. I just wanted to look what's different in this post process. So, okay, this one is more vibrant and rich. Look, my original. And there's nothing that I haven't shown you. It's just that I spent about 2 hours on this post process compared to the one I've just showed you that I set up in minutes. And I don't think there's anything that different in it. See, this is the post process that comes. Oh, yeah, that's it. So this is the post process that comes with the Metahuman lighting project. And so it's got extra things in there like bloom. And no, that's all the same. Maybe it's got some of these settings here that don't really pay. I can't really see much. Lens flares, are there? No. It does have some temperature set on. Temperature is a good one if we want to quickly change, for example. I love what this is what I'm saying about the skin tone of this character. I now love this warm color over here. Slightly yellower rather than a blue. But it really does. If just look at this side of the face, changing that to a warm light. See, I've made it kind of pink. But that really does bring out the skin tone when you make it warm. I love finding these things out. Saturation, yeah. There is a gamma correction for whatever reason. And I don't remember doing that, so I'm wondering if that was with the Metahuman lighting preset, but you can adjust gamma. Look, I always think of it as kind of it's a strange way to think of it, but like a bite. It's going to be really difficult for you to see on YouTube. Again, I don't understand the science of this, but I cannot explain it to you. I know there's people in the comment section going to scream at me who understand these things better than I do. Right, yep, saturation, midtones, yep, they're all the same. There's nothing in miscellaneous, film. Global illumination is set to screen space. Let's try ray trace. Again, I would play around with these settings and until I get something that I like, maybe final gamma. There is no point me doing path tracing because I don't think the eyes or the hair work in path tracing. Oh, the hair does work now, does it? Groom hair does show up. Oh, I didn't know that. But as we can see, the eyes are still not that great. So yeah, there's no point me going the path tracing route. I'll just have it in normal lit mode. And then to export this, because there is a final stage, and I would argue it is a very, very important stage, I will come to high resolution screenshot. It will ask me the screenshot size multiplier. Usually I will set this to 2. Sometimes I will set it higher, but for purposes of this, we'll just do 2. And then if we open up this, let me just drag it across for you. We just have a finished image. Now, I can already tell that I may need to adjust my camera slightly. So let me go to my camera. Let's find focus. I'm going to draw debug plane. That's what if you look, I'm just getting this eye here. If I go any further, this eye becomes blurred with my current camera settings, and I don't want that. I want you to be looking dead on here, and that is all in focus. So right this, probably there, and then turn off the plane again. Then I'm going to high resolution screenshot to capture. Let's open it up. And I don't know whether this is going to come through on YouTube, but this image is sharper. I don't think that's going to happen on YouTube, but this image is definitely sharper. Okay, again, it has come out a little bit flatter than it is in my viewport, and that is something that I'm going to deal with right now. This stage depends upon what it is that you use. I use Luminar 4. I'm just more comfortable working this way. I sometimes would start, for example, with a preset, and let's try an AI image enhancer. Yep, that's fine. Right. So let me just reset all these values. AI enhance. I like Luminar 4 because it has the AI enhancer. Sometimes it is a little full on, so I have to take it easier. Right. So first thing I will do is, because I know that my monitor is dark when I render out things, they're always darker. So I will turn up the exposure, probably to around there. It seems really bright probably in this YouTube video, but once I render out and I upload to Instagram, I will need it brighter. Next, I will adjust smart contrast, and some of these things are going to be very difficult. I mean, if we go extreme, you can see. Okay, so I just want it gentle. There we go. Smart contrast, and then bring the shadows up slightly. I'm not going to touch highlights. Then I'll come to AI Ascent. And if again, extremes, but we just want a gentle amount. AI Structure, again, extremes. And this really brings out some detail look. But again, I'm going to be very light touch with this. Probably there. And then boost, look what boost does. That is way too much. But we will have 1, not 2. 2. Okay, color, always bring down the saturation, and then I bump up the vibrance. Like so. Details, I like to increase my small details, mid details up a bit, and sharpen the image. I do want to add a bit of luminosity denoise and a little bit of color denoise. There we go. Next, sometimes I would choose a LUT, and as you can see, it does make a huge difference. It just depends how I'm approaching things. Sometimes I don't want to get that far away from what I saw in the viewport. In this case, I'm going to choose this thinner, but I'm just going to roll it back slightly, and we don't need any more contrast or saturation. And then glow. I kind of like glow. If we turn it up, look, that's what we get. So I'm going to scale this right down. Film grain adds grain to the image. And let me just do that. I want to be really careful with this one. There we go. Fog. you can use this. When I tend to do this on Instagram, depending on how it looks in the browser. They have a fade dial, and I would dial that in. In this instance, I'm going to add 2. I would then go to Pro. There is a portrait enhancer here for AI skin, etc., and you can beautify the skin. For example, we can slim the face and all that, but I'm not really a fan of that sort of thing, so I don't do that. On Pro, if I do need to adjust the contrast, I would do it here, but in this case, I don't need to do it. Next is Brilliance, which is adding the color. So what I will do is start at the bottom and just work up until it pops. I think in this instance, I'm just going to choose 1. We can adjust the coolness or the warmth here. Again, I'm reasonably happy with how that is already. Color contrast, use this very, very sparingly. And we can add a hue here. Split warmth color, I don't usually use this, but let's see. Yeah, maybe if I scale that to 5, we can cool that, but I'm not going to. And that's it. And then we can just export this image, and I will then upload to Instagram, and that is how it is created. If you would like to support the channel, you can go to the link in the description and buy me a coffee from buymeacoffee.com. Alternatively, you can click the thanks button underneath this video and help that way. More tutorials are on the way, but for now, could you please hit the like and subscribe button and comment below with any questions? I will see you in the next one.